Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 VC review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Zoda's Revenge Startropics 2, which if you've never played it before, it's basically a Zelda style game, like one of the original Zeldas. It's a action adventure RPG type thing. I haven't went to the start because the start is unfortunately prologue stuff and there's nothing really to show off, but basically at the start you create a file, choose your name, then go on to the gameplay. This is I think the third chapter in, and basically you walk around like this talking to people, and then once you've talked to people you'll get to know where you go, so standard stuff, and then you go into these instead. For the caves and the dungeons it changes to this style of gameplay. It saves every time you go in one, which is annoying and helpful at the same time, but it goes to this style of gameplay, which you can move around 8 directionally, you can attack 8 directional as well, you can just basically, well, do everything that you'd expect to be able to do in a Zelda game. You go up the rooms, advance through the rooms, fighting the enemy, solving the puzzles and stuff, and then if it's an actual dungeon and not just a side cave type thing, then you'll get a boss fight, you beat the boss, you get more story in that, and you can advance up, you can level up, you can gain more hearts, and stuff like that, and it's just standard gameplay really. As you can see though, when you're not paying attention you can die very quickly on the game, unfortunately. You can get potions and stuff to heal you though, you can get extra lives, because that's the other thing, I might as well show it here. When you die, you go back and you lose a life, so it's one of those things that can, the life system can be annoying to some but helpful to others, because it's the type of thing, if you died on a Zelda game you'd expect to go back to your last save. This almost basically gives you a do-over. It takes you to the, like, well here it's took us to the room before and I've lost a life. It's only when I lose all my lives that I'll have to start the entire thing again. So that's what I mean by some people might get annoyed by it, thinking, well, why can't I just spawn there? I know I've lost all my lives, but why can't I just spawn there? Whereas others like myself will think, well, other games don't do it, other games aren't that fair, so I'm not really bothered that it does that. There's all sorts of weapons you can get on the game though, and the weapon system actually works a little, well, you might say dodgy. It's the type of thing that you wouldn't normally expect, but some of the weapons can only be used when you've got certain amounts of energy, so it's one of those that I don't see why having that much energy would make a difference to you wielding a weapon, but apparently it does. The main gameplay though is this. Obviously you are going to be walking around like I've shown just before, talking to people, but the main part of the gameplay is doing the dungeons and the caves and that, and advancing through the story. And there's 9 chapters, of which most of the chapters are a pretty good length. The first chapter is just basically story and it's like 5 minutes long. I don't even know why they bothered to class it as a separate chapter. But there's 9 chapters as I see it, and they are a decent length. I don't really think anyone's going to be complaining about the overall length of the game, saying it was too short, especially when you consider that it only costs about $3.50 now on the VC. As well as having main weapons though, you can also get side weapons, which is what I've got here, these basically the little ball type things, because you're using an old-fashioned catapult. And collected that by solving a little puzzle early on. I did pass it, but I didn't want to show how to solve it because I don't really like showing spoilers type thing. And as I say, you get limited ammunition, so I'm nearly out of this and about to swap back to my Tomahawk. Yeah, there we go. And there's not really, to be fair, much left to say. There is some music, but I can't really let you listen to it just yet because I've currently got the bleeping because I'm about to die. So I will do a cut now and then just show off some music where it won't be bleeping. So there we go, that was a bit of the music. The only things pretty much I haven't mentioned is the checkpoints on the game, because I did say when you die you go back to like rooms and that, but I didn't specify by saying that it is actually specific checkpoints, so it's not a case of you always go back to the last room, it is proper checkpoints. Only other thing really left to mention is the stars that I haven't mentioned yet. The stars, basically when you get 5 of them, it will give you another heart, another piece of energy. Not to your total energy, it'll just refill a piece, so if you've lost energy like I have now, it would fill it up again. which is pretty much the only thing about this game that I don't really like. They've made this one much harder than the first one, which, yes, I like hard games, but the first one was hard enough as it is. This one, it seems it's really, really crippling with energy. It barely gives you any energy, any handout type things. It's the type of thing that you really have to play perfectly almost in order to actually beat something, because there will be times where it'll just not give you any energy, any stars or anything dropping from the enemies for so long periods of time that it's unbelievable. And it is a bit of a shame, because I think it makes the game a bit too hard for certain people. I think most will end up switching off after a chapter or two, whereas I'm persevering with it and going through. It's the type of thing that I can imagine your average casual gamer of this generation just getting into old games thinking, nah, sod this, it's too hard, I'm switching off. But there is pretty much nothing else left to say other than that if you did enjoy the first game and you do still like hard games, definitely get it. It's well worth the money. I think it's 600 points for us and 500 for NA. And graphically, obviously, I haven't mentioned that graphically the game looks okay, but nothing really too special. I've seen better games on the NES, but I've seen worse. So there we go then, that's been the review. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least found it helpful. You might have noticed I didn't score the game. Well, that's because it's a matter of personal opinion, and yours may very well differ from my own. I'm just here to show you a bit about the game. If you like it or not, well, that's up to you. If you don't like it, or you do like it, feel free to comment. Also, if I haven't answered any of your questions that you may have had, I might have forgot something, or it might just be something obscure. Again, feel free to comment, ask, always willing to help out. Otherwise, if you don't like commenting on YouTube, head over to www.vc-forums.com, where you can chat with me and a bunch of other lads who love the VC, the WiiWare, and hell, even a lot of other systems. We cater to pretty much everything. You can just go there, have a chat about a game, ask about some games, etc. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.